Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Western adventure this hour, Marshal Matt Dillon, who is portrayed by William Conrad. An episode of Gunsmoke entitled The Killer. This goes all the way back to February 13th, 1954.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
What are you building up the fire this time of night for?
More light? See better?
See what?
Nothing, there's just one more light, that's all.
Mister, ever since we met on the trail back there this afternoon, you've been watching me.
We're strangers, ain't we?
Sure.
You've been watching me, too.
I did at first, but I trust you now. Crawl back in your blanket.
Okay.
Well, that's better. Now go to sleep, will you?
You going to sleep?
I'd like to watch the stars a little while first.
Ain't no stars by me.
I can see 'em over your shoulder there. Laying on my back gives me the ache.
Gives me the ache, too.
We got a lot in common, mister.
Yeah?
You never told me what name you go by.
You never told me neither.
Doggone if you ain't the most suspicious man I ever run into.
I'm still alive.
You ought to quit worrying so much. You get old before your time.
My pa taught me to worry.
Who's your pa?
He's dead.
Died worrying, probably.
No, he died of the milk sickness. He was a good man, though.
Ain't any good man.
He was.
Why?
What he believed in.
What did he believe in?
Well, he always said he believed in foot washing, saving your seed potatoes, and paying your honest debts.
Your pa was crazy. I'm going crazy if I don't get the bugs out of this blanket.
Shake 'em out.
I'm going to. Killed him first shot. Well, now I can get me some sleep.
It beats me how you know which way to go, Mr. Dillon.
That's easy, Chester.
Yeah, but all the fella said was he'd found a man's body some 20 miles east of Dodge. You've been riding like you knew right where it was laying.
Well, he was a teamster, Chester. I just been following his wagon tracks, that's all.
Oh. I don't know, Mr. Dillon. Maybe I shouldn't never leave Dodge.
Chester, There he is, straight ahead there. Do you see?
Yes, sir. That must be it, all right.
Come on.
Oh. Well, look at there. He's still in his blanket.
Yeah. Looks like he was shot right in the heart.
At least the poor fella died in his sleep.
Well, he must have come half awake. His hands on his gun.
He never got it out, though. Somebody sure jumped him fast. Say, maybe it was Indian.
No. No, his hair's still on. And besides, somebody was sleeping over here.
I declare. Who do you suppose it was?
I don't know, Chester. Bet he couldn't be a very brave man.
No, sir, he sure couldn't. Dirty coward.
Go get that shovel off your saddle, huh, Chester?
Yes, sir. Well, Mr. Dillon, it's worth a long ride like that, if only to work up a good thirst.
I've seen you work up a good thirst just sitting around, Chester.
Yes, sir. I'm just lucky, I guess.
Well, I never heard it called that before.
Give me a glass of beer, barkeep.
Beer nothing. Give him whiskey.
I don't want whiskey.
Ain't you man enough to drink whiskey?
Drink it when I want it.
I don't believe you do. Drink some now.
I ain't bothering you. Can't a man come in here and have what he wants?
Cowboy, ain't you?
What's wrong with being a cowboy?
Nothing. Only I always thought it took a man to be a cowboy.
You trying to start trouble, mister?
Well, listen to him.
What's so funny about that?
I killed a man once for telling me not to laugh.
I ain't telling you nothing.
Mister, I think you're a coward. You got a gun in your belt. Go ahead, use it.
What for? So you can kill me and call it self-defense?
All right, that's enough. Leave him alone.
What are you mixing this for?
I don't like gunfighting around here.
You
mister.
don't like it.
I'm a U.S. Marshal.
Oh, Marshal.
Now, what's your name, stranger?
I'm called Crego.
All right, Crego, move down the bar. Go on, move.
I'll see you later, cowboy.
I wouldn't have dared draw on him, Marshal. I ain't no gunman. He'd have killed me, sure.
Yeah, he probably would have.
My name's Jesse Hill, Marshal. I'm proud to know you.
Well, Jesse, you keep that gun in your belt, huh? And stay away from Crego?
I ain't no troublemaker.
Yeah, I know. But sometimes a man can't avoid it. Not around somebody like him.
Well, I think I'll do my drinking across the street.
See you later, Jesse.
Yeah, so long.
That Crego's an awful mean man, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, he's mean, all right. Especially when he's sure the other man hasn't got a chance.
Wonder where he came from. I never saw him around here before.
Now, he's new in Dodge, Chester. Let me tell you something. It had to be that kind of a man who killed that cowboy we buried today.
Well, you think it was him?
Well, he could have done it. He's enough of a coward. But if he did, no one could ever prove it.
No, sir, I guess not.
But he'll make a mistake yet, Chester. His kind always do.
Like that material, Kitty?
I'd like to make a dress of it. This all you have, Mr. Jonas?
Afraid so. But I'll order more if you want it.
How long will it take?
A few weeks is all.
Okay. I'll need about 7 yards.
You'll have it, Kitty. And say, look here.
Hmm.
These new parasols.
Oh.
They just come on the Santa Fe today. From St. Louis.
Hello, Matt.
Hello, Kitty. Mr. Jonas.
Your coat's out back, Marshal.
Oh?
You can go try it on if you want.
Oh, new coat, huh? I'd like to see it, Matt.
Well, you wait here, Kitty, and I'll just go put it on.
Sure hope it fits. I had a parcel of trouble talking him into ordering that coat.
Well, he's needed it ever since I've known him.
Men just don't like new things, Kitty. Yeah. Now, is there anything else?
No. That's all for today. How much do I owe you?
Let's see here. I'll have to add it up.
Well, now, there's a right pretty girl.
Go on back to your hogs, mister.
Salty, too. I like that.
Oh, now look here, stranger.
Don't pay any attention to him, Mr. Jonas. You got it figured?
Well, it comes to about $2.40, kid.
I'll pay it.
What?
I says I'll pay it.
You'll do nothing of the kind. Put it on my bill, Mr.
Oh,
Jonas.
there you are. I like to buy things for pretty girls, providing they let me carry the package home for them.
Now get out of here and leave me alone, or I'll hit you again.
Maybe you're a little too salty. Maybe what you need is
Go ahead, Crego. Finish what you were going to say.
It's no business of yours.
I want to hear what you were going to say.
When she slapped me, you saw
Get
her.
out of the way, Kitty.
Gladly.
Now, let's not fight.
Be quiet, Mr. Jonas.
Yes, sir.
Crego, I think you're a coward. I'm going to prove it.
What are you up to?
That cowboy Jesse wouldn't draw on you. But I will. Are you ready?
No.
There, I got my gun out and you didn't do a thing, did you?
I ain't drawing on you.
All right, now get out of here, Crego. And if I ever see you anywhere near Miss Kitty again, I'm going to break your neck. Now go on, get out.
He sure showed his colors, Matt.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the first time I ever saw you draw first on a man.
Well, I figured he wouldn't draw, Kitty.
How'd you know?
Now, Crego doesn't take any chances. And right now, I'm wondering how many more men he's going to kill before he's through.
We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first...
From February 13th, 1954, Gunsmoke on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Here's some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or if you just have a plan you're not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called MediShare. There are hundreds of thousands of members, and they love it. MediShare has a 98% customer satisfaction rating, and this is obviously huge. The typical family saves around $6,000 a year switching to MediShare. Find out more. They're great to talk to. 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE.
The MyPillow.com clearance continues. Roll and go anywhere. MyPillow's $9.99. The Body Pillow $39.99. And MyPillow bath sheets on sale 50% off. Use my promo code USA. Go to MyPillow.com/radio specials. You'll also get a free copy of Mike Lindell's book. MyPillow.com/radio specials. Use promo code USA or 1-800-951-8175. Thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now more of Gunsmoke from February 13th, 1954.
Chester?
I'm back here, Mr. Dillon.
Well, come out front, huh?
Yes, sir. You picked a mighty poor time to ride out to Fort Dodge, if you don't mind me saying so.
Tell me what happened, Chester. I hear that you witnessed it.
Yes, sir, I was right there, Mr. Dillon. Crego agged him into drawing first.
Yeah. Self-defense again, is that it?
Yes, sir. The poor fellow was awful slow. And you know what Crego did?
What?
Well, he shot him in the gun arm first, then through both knees. And finally, he shot him in the belly and killed him. There's nothing I could do once they'd started.
Yeah. Who was he, Chester?
A fellow named Lidacker that told me. Some stranger.
Huh?
Why don't you run Crego out of town?
Running him out of Dodge would just mean he'd go murder somebody someplace else, Chester.
Well, at least he wouldn't be doing it here.
Yeah, I know. But somehow I'd feel responsible for letting him get away.
Varmints like that oughtn't be allowed to live.
Yeah, they wouldn't be alive if he wasn't so careful about picking the man he shoots.
No, sir. Oh, say, Doc was down a little while ago.
Huh?
He's through with autopsy and wants to know who's going to bury that fella.
Yeah. Did he have any friends?
Yes, sir. That cowboy Crego tried to fight, Jesse Hill.
Oh.
I think he was a friend of his. He helped carry him up to Doc's anyway, and he seemed real mad about it all. Quiet, you know, but mad.
That could lead to trouble.
How do you mean?
Well, Jesse backed off from Crego once, but he may go looking for him now. I don't think he'd have a chance.
Then we'd sure better find him, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, Chester, we better. Come on.
Maybe Jesse left town, Mr. Dillon.
Well, I hope so. Though we haven't looked every place yet.
Somebody said he had a room at the Dodge house.
Oh? That seems to be pretty fancy for a line rider, doesn't it?
He's probably spent 6 months' pay in the last few days. They always do.
Well, they can't spend it out on the prairie, Chester. I guess it doesn't mean much to them.
Yeah, I know, but you'd think they'd save a little money, a few dollars at least.
Oh? Tell me something, Chester.
Hmm?
When were you at the bank last?
Well, I keep my money in my sock, Mr. Dillon. It's safer.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Isn't that kind of tough on the merchants when you go to spend it, though?
Well, nobody ain't turned it down yet. Money's money.
Wait a minute. There's Jesse across the plaza there. Yeah, and that's Crego he's talking to. Come on.
Hey, it looks like they're having an argument, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah.
You gonna stop it?
Well, if I can. Crego! Jesse!
They're about to fight, Mr. Dillon.
Murdered him, Crego. Go on, draw. Hold it, Jesse! All right, Crego. Put your gun away.
Sure. He tried to shoot me, Marshal. You saw him.
He's dead, Mr. Dillon.
Well, that was pretty easy for you, wasn't it, Crego?
He shouldn't have tried it, Marshal. I told him not to.
You're lying. I heard what you told him.
Well, what difference does it make? He drew first. I shot him in self-defense.
Yeah, sure. Crego, did you know that man you killed the other night was Jesse Hill's friend?
Jesse was telling me that just now.
Well, I got an idea you talked him into drawing just to work Jesse up to a fight.
He was both a couple of bums, Marshal.
How about that man on the prairie? Was he a bum?
What man?
The one that was lying wrapped in his blanket.
I don't know what you're talking about, Marshal.
Crego, how long you been killing people?
Marshal, I killed my first man when I was 18. Fella tried to knife me, so I shot him. I'll tell you something else. I ain't wanted by the law nowheres. Nowheres at all.
Did you ever fight a man who could handle a gun?
What do you mean?
You will someday, Crego. You'll make a mistake and pick on the wrong man.
Will I, Marshal? Oh, I'm going to go and get me a drink.
Ain't there nothing you can do about him, Mr. Dillon?
Now, there's one thing I can do, Chester. At first, we'll get Jesse and his friend buried.
You know, I'm going to double down on what I've said previously. William Conrad, even though he was a little heavy, he looked like a marshal. And it didn't help when he started picking up a lot more weight later on in his career. So you had shows like Cannon and Jake and the Fat Man. But back in this era, even though he was heavy, he still looked like you might expect a marshal to look back in the Western days. February 13th, 1954, Gunsmoke. The conclusion, along with another yours truly Johnny Dollar story, all straight ahead on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Are you suffering with arthritis or osteoporosis? Do you have diabetes? Did you know that these are just two of the hundreds of diseases that have seen improvement with Dr. Wallach's incredible longevity products? You can't get them at a health food store. The only way to get them is to call us at 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Do you have heart disease, fibromyalgia, or high blood pressure? Do you have a terrible time losing weight? Dr. Wallach can help. He was a veterinarian and cured diseases in animals. He felt that he could do the same for humans, so he became a physician. Over 50 years of research and helping people like you goes into every bottle of Dr. Wallach's amazing discoveries. Do you want to feel better? Learn how to treat the cause of your problem rather than covering up the symptoms with drugs. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065.
And you're listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station. Now the conclusion of Gunsmoke, February 13th, 1954, The Killer.
Crego's still standing at the bar of the Alfraganza, Mr. Dillon.
All right, Chester.
You gonna take him in?
No, I'd just have to turn him loose sooner or later.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Something I've never done before, Chester. But if it works, it'll save some lives.
How?
You'll see.
He was bragging about already killing 2 men since he's been in Dodge.
Well, he'll go right on killing men if he isn't stopped.
He's like one of them hound dogs that gets a taste of blood in his mouth and sort of goes crazy with it, ain't he?
Yeah, that's what he's like. Okay. Here we are.
Is there anything you want me to do, Mr. Dillon?
Yes, there is, Chester.
What?
Well, you'll know when the time comes. But stay out of the way.
Yes, sir.
And about the marshal.
Crego.
What do you want now, Marshal?
I've been thinking about you, Crego. And I've decided that you're not fit to live.
You got no call, Marshal. I killed them men in self-defense.
Sure.
Ain't no court in the world that'd convict me. I'm plumb innocent.
I'm not talking about hanging you.
What are you talking about?
Crego, I'm going to walk out of here and wait for you in the street. And I'm going to wait 1 minute. And if you're not there in 1 minute, I'm coming back.
What for?
I'm going to kill you.
No, I ain't going to fight you.
Yes, you are. 1 minute, Crego.
Mr. Dillon! You killed him.
Yeah.
He had his gun out. He'd have shot you right in the back.
Thanks for letting me know, Chester.
Oh, my goodness. Is that what you wanted me to do?
Yeah, that was it.
Well, suppose I hadn't saw him.
Then Crego would have killed another man.
I feel kind of sick.
You did fine, Chester. Now remember, Chester, it was more than one life you just saved.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman Macdonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were Lawrence Dobkin, Vic Perrin, Howard Culver, and Richard Deacon. Parley Bear as Chester, and Georgia Ellis as Kitty. Gunsmoke has been selected by the Armed Forces Radio Service to be heard by our troops overseas. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke.
From February 13th, 1954, Gunsmoke on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Oh, come on, I hate you. You have no right to speak to me. You're stupid, you're evil. You believe in your God, guns, and gold. You shouldn't have the right to vote. We must fix this disgusting country now. We want socialism now.
Whoa there, little fella. Our U.S. Constitution protects your right to say these things, even if they are drivel.
Our founders believed in our inalienable rights granted by God, not some mafia. Our Bill of Rights protects your personal freedoms, your absolute right to speak to others, whether loving and kind or hateful and stupid.
Utopia doesn't exist. It only destroys. Millions of innocents slaughtered by the communists in Cambodia, China, and the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics.
And millions of people were gassed by Hitler's National Socialist Party.
Where do you stand? Help us save the Constitution and restore our American dream. Go to SaveMyFreedom.com. That's SaveMyFreedom.com.
Brought to you by the American Media Council.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Part 1 of the 5-part Qui Bono Matter. This episode of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, was originally broadcast February 13th, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
Don Hancock, Johnny. Surety Mutual.
Hi, Don. What's on your mind?
Qui Bono.
Qui who?
It's Latin, kiddo. Qui Bono. Who benefits?
All right, I'll bite. Who does?
A little doll named Luann Parker down in Green Pass, Virginia. $100,000 worth, Johnny. Double indemnity.
Wow, what did she do? Answer the question?
She sure did, with a .38. 2 bullseyes right in her foster papa's heart.
Well, then if it's an open and shut case, you don't need...
Oh, it's that all right. She's the gal what done it. She admits it. But the coroner is about to call it an unavoidable accident. Seems little old Magnolia Blossom thought Papa was a prowler.
And what do you think?
Just what I said. Qui bono.
So?
I think you'd better put yourself on the payroll.
Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar. To the Home Office, Surety Mutual Insurance Limited, Hartford, Connecticut. The following is an accounting of expenditures during my investigation of the Qui Bono matter. Item 1, $78.45. Transportation and incidentals, Hartford to Green Pass, which was a village of some 12,000 people, hidden among quiet wooded hills. and located, as I discovered on arrival, some 3 miles from the railroad station.
Nice weather we're having.
Yeah, it's fine.
You from New York?
Well, near there, Hartford.
Bet you ain't been having weather like this up there.
No, it's been pretty cold.
You say your name was Dollar?
Yeah, Johnny Dollar.
I'm Jake Digley. You here on business?
That's right.
Well, I wouldn't count on finding much here. Green Pass is what you might call a one-horse town. 1 hotel, 1 bank, 1 taxi, that's me, 1 newspaper.
And 1 county attorney.
Yep, just 1 Oh, and you've heard about our tragedy, about Dan Parker getting shot.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. I'm an investigator for an insurance company.
I see. Well, it was a terrible thing. It was... Oh, doggone it. If old man Hawley don't fix up them fences, he's going to be short a cow one of these days. That's the 3rd time this week they've been out the road.
How do people around here feel about Dan Parker? Was he well-liked?
Well, he'd been re-elected for 5 straight terms.
No personal enemies?
Not a one. There ain't a man in Green Pass that... Hey, what difference does it make whether he was well-liked? You know how he was killed, don't you?
Yeah, I understand he was shot accidentally by his stepdaughter.
That's right. And what difference does it make whether he had any enemies?
Well, none, probably. But when an insurance company holds a policy as large as the one they carried on Dan Parker, they want to know the full circumstances surrounding the death.
Well, there ain't no mystery about it, Mr. Dollar. That poor girl took him for a burglar and shot him, that's all. And it might have near broke her up.
Say, what about her, Jake? Is she well-liked?
Well, let me put it this way. I'm 52 years old. I got a grandson, 17. And we're both in love with Lou Ann Parker.
I see.
And there's 5,000 other males in Green Pass that feel the same way.
She get along all right with her stepfather?
They worshipped each other. She was all Dan had since Mrs. Parker died 9 years ago. They was thicker than thieves, them two. Rode horseback together, went fishing, took trips together.
Well, then it's understandable that she'd be pretty broken up.
It was terrible for her. She went clean out of her mind when she realized what she'd done.
So tell me, was Dan Parker a wealthy man?
No, fairly well-to-do for these parts, but no ways wealthy, the way you'd think of it in New York, for instance.
Then I imagine the Parker girl would think of $100,000 as being a pretty sizable fortune.
Mr. Dollar, let me give you a little advice.
Oh?
You got a job to do, fine. But if I was you, I'd be mighty careful how I went about doing it.
Why so?
Well, people up here in the hills are kind of standoffish at best. And if you go around hinting what you seem to be hitting at, you're going to get yourself a mess of trouble.
I don't deal in hints, Jake. All I'm trying to do is dig up all the information possible. Let the company know exactly what happened.
That sounds fair enough, Mr. Dollar. But you take my advice. Dig easy.
Jake Digley's one-man taxi service dropped me off at the town's one-man hotel. I signed in, left my bags, and did a quick resume of the case which Don Hancock had given me in New York. I tried pumping the hotel proprietor, but when he found out who I was, he frosted up like a mid-julep on a sultry day. But he did tell me I could find the sheriff across the square at the town's one pool room. It turned out to be a one-man place, too. And at the moment, Sheriff Jim Peterson was the one man.
Oh, glad to know you, Mr. Dollar. Just a second now. Watch me get that there 3-ball down there.
Good shot.
No, that was a setup. You couldn't miss one like that if you wanted to. Got something on your mind, sir?
Yes, I'm an insurance investigator. I'm here in connection with the Parker case.
I'll see. Doggone it. Well, I don't think I'd call it a case exactly. It was an accident. Ain't no mystery about it, far as I can see.
I didn't mean to imply that there was, Sheriff. As it stands now, this is a routine investigation, nothing more. I just like to get the facts, find out exactly what happened, in order to furnish my company with the report they need to pay the claim. I'd appreciate your cooperation if you've got the time.
Ooh, I got the time, all right, sir. Yeah, how much you know about it?
Well, not much. Dan Parker, as I understand it, was your county attorney here. His stepdaughter, Luann Parker, who is the beneficiary under our policy, mistook him for a prowler, shot him, and killed him. Well, that's about it.
Well, the thing happened 3 nights ago. Dan been up to Richmond on business, and he come back in on the midnight train. He walked down from the station.
Walked 3 miles at that time of night?
Well, it's a little over 2 to his place. It's outside of town a ways.
Well, that's still quite a walk. Why didn't he call this taxi driver, Jake Deagley?
Yeah, well, he probably did try to, but Jake wasn't expecting any business, so he took a night off. He was out at Happy Hollow. See, that's a kind of a roadhouse about 5 miles up the highway.
Does Dan's daughter have a car?
Yeah, she does. But I figure he didn't want to bother her at that time of night. See, he wasn't due in till the next afternoon. But it appears like he finished up his business and decided to come on back at night without letting Luann know or anybody else. Now, let me see here.
Was he in the habit of coming back unexpectedly from trips?
No, I wouldn't say he was.
Well, go on.
Huh? Oh, well, Dan didn't take many trips. And when he did, he most always made arrangements with Jake or Luann to meet him at the station.
I see.
So, anyway, walked home that night, and he took a shortcut through the lane and come on in the back way across the terrace. And right there was his fatal act.
Oh, what do you mean?
He bumped against the lawn chair. And the sound woke up Luann. And then she heard him fumbling with the lock of the back door and heard him come on in the house. She took a .38 pistol from a drawer of her night table and went to the head of the stairs. When she heard him start up, she fired twice and killed him.
Mm-hmm. Were there any lights on in the house?
No, she was afraid to turn on any light. And I reckon Dan was trying to keep from waking her up.
2 shots, 2 bullets in the heart, firing down a stairway in pitch darkness. That's pretty good shooting, Sheriff.
Oh, well, she can outshoot me, Mr. Dollar. And I'm known as one of the best in these here parts.
Who taught her?
Well, Dan taught her himself. He figured a girl ought to be able to protect herself.
So tell me something, Sheriff. Did she have any reason to think it might be a prowler? Have you had any trouble of that kind around town?
Oh, 3 weeks ago, there was a house broke into over on the south side, and twice since then, Dan called me in the night to come out and take a look around his place.
Oh, why?
Well, seems Luann thought she heard somebody trying to break in.
And did you find anybody?
Nope.
Was Luann alone in the house the night of the shooting?
Well, Mary Jackson was there.
Who,
Well, she'd been housekeeper for the Parkers for the last 15 years.
What's her version?
Same as I told you. She heard the shots, saw the lights in the hall come on, and heard Luann scream, "Father."
How did the girl and her father get along?
Well, couldn't have been any closer. She pretty broke up about it. You talked to her yet, Miss Dollar?
No, not yet.
No, I didn't think so.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, I mean, if you had, you wouldn't be asking a lot of these questions. Or at least you wouldn't be asking them in the way that you are.
What way, Sheriff?
Well, like you figured the Parker girl was actually guilty of something.
Well, she did pull the trigger, didn't she?
And with sufficient reason. She was nervous. She'd heard prowlers around before, or at least thought she did, which adds up the same thing. She thought she heard somebody break in. She knew she couldn't count on Mary for any help. She had a gun, knew how to use it, so she got up her courage and done a natural and normal thing. She used it. And she'll regret her mistake the rest of her life.
Yeah, that's the way the picture seems to work out. At the moment, at least.
You got any reason to doubt it?
I get paid to doubt things, Sheriff, until I satisfy myself that there's no reason to doubt them. And that's all I'm trying to do. It's all the insurance company expects me to do. I'm not out to pin anything on this girl or to get out of paying her claim, provided it's legitimate.
It is.
Well, then she's got nothing to worry about. If the thing happened as you just told me it did, then I have as much sympathy for her as you do. It'll be a pretty rough memory to live with. I just want to be sure, that's all.
All right, Miss Dollar. You look around. You talk to people. Ask any questions you have a mind to, but you're going to come out right back where you started at.
You're probably right.
Dan and me'd been friends for years. Good friends. If I thought there was the slightest doubt about this, I would be the first one to kick up a fuss and go after the truth.
Even if the evidence pointed toward Luann Parker?
No matter where it pointed to.
Well, now, look, I want to talk to the housekeeper and to Miss Parker herself, and I'd like to attend the coroner's inquest if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind, but you're a little late.
Huh?
It was held this morning.
What was the verdict?
Death by misadventure, unavoidable accident, with no recommendation for prosecution.
I see. Would it be possible for me to see a copy of the transcript?
It would. I'll ring the coroner and tell him to expect you. But let me give you a little piece of advice, Mr. Dollar.
All right.
Folks in these here parts love that girl. So when you start walking around asking questions, walk easy.
I went over the coroner's report and found nothing. Luann had been called as a witness and appeared to have answered all questions in a frank and a straightforward manner. I checked her school record. She was regarded as an unusually bright girl and had stood at the head of her class all through high school. She'd been elected cheerleader in her junior year, won the lead in the class play, had been chosen queen of the senior prom. She was the town's darling. They worshipped her. And I could see that casting any aspersions on her would be like an attack on the crown jewels. I began to feel like a peeping Tom, like a louse, like I was wrong. And yet, Qui Bono? Who benefits? 2 bullets in a man's heart and a $100,000 payoff. I had to be sure.
Now, here's our star to tell you about tomorrow's intriguing episode of this week's story.
Tomorrow, beauty is as beauty does, and an idol is found to be made of flesh and blood. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. Written by Les Crutchfield, it is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the next exciting episode of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
This is going to be an interesting one. Part 1 of the 5-part Yours truly Johnny Dollar story, The Qui Bono Matter, from February 13th, 1956. A reminder that you can get all of the Yours truly Johnny Dollar episodes in the best quality you'll find them anywhere by going and visiting my friend Ted at radiomemories.com. That's radiomemories.com. He has shows available on compact disc, cassette, or flash drive for your computer. radiomemories.com. Please visit my webpage. You can get Ted's information there as well. The webpage is classicradio.stream. There you can stream our shows on demand, learn more about classic radio collecting, and contact me there. classicradio.stream. Do not forget that our shows are available anywhere absolutely free by going to classicradio.stream. Go to iHeartRadio, go to Spotify, to Spreaker, to Audible, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, all sorts of places. You can just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. That's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Please take a moment to thank this radio station and support their advertisers. It's their kindness and courtesy that we come to you here on this radio station. And tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.